Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles Sabansi. I want to welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, to entertainment, and we'll give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And today we got a very interesting show for you guys. But before we get into it, please make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. Now, this is a topic that I want to take my time with, and it is something that I'm going to enjoy, and I think some of you guys are going to enjoy watching this show here now. So as you guys know, there's this debate that's taking place within NBA circles. And the debate is, are international NBA players or international or players that are born internationally or from other countries beginning to take over the NBA, over the American NBA players? That's been the conversation, right? For those of you who may have been under a rock, international players have been dominating over the last few years. And with the latest showcase we just saw on the world stage with the FIBA games, when Team USA went there and couldn't even win a single medal, not the gold, not the silver, not the bronze, I think it added more fire to this argument where some people now believe that international players are going to take over the NBA. One of those people that I've heard push this line very hard is Brandon Jennings on Gilbert Arenas' show. Brandon Jennings really believes that these international players are on the way, or most likely going to take over the NBA. And he believes that if there was I think an all-star game or a pickup game, I'm not sure. I think an all-star game or pickup game, where if it was just international players versus American players, he said, if my memory serves me properly, that he believes that the international team will beat the NBA players. The fact of the matter is this is something that has been coming for a long time. The NBA started planting this seed years ago. You got to go all the way back to Yao Ming. And also that was their entree into the Chinese market. But Yao Ming was the first big international. I mean, like, we're not talking about big. Yes, they've had other players in the NBA, that international players like Hakeem Olajuwon and others. But Yao Ming was a different thing because he brought in an entirely different market. And since then, you can see the NBA pushing for this. They've been pushing for this, right? For the game to grow wider. You see that they're doing various things in Africa. They're doing various things in Europe. And now we've reached a point where, international players are beginning to dominate the NBA. For example, the last four players to win MVP in the NBA have all been international players. Now, Joel Embiid is a dual citizen, but he was not born in the United States. He's just a dual citizen. But the last four players were not born in the U.S. Giannis won. Giannis won. I believe Giannis won 2. Let me get this right. I think Giannis Antetokounmpo won 2. It could possibly be. I could be wrong, but I think the last 5 regular season MVPs. No, Giannis won 2 MVPs. So Giannis won it in 2019, 2020, and then Nikola Jokic won it in 2021 and 22. Yes, and then Joel Embiid won it in 23. So the last 5 regular season MVPs have gone to international players. The last 5. So for the last 5 years, international players have been at the top of the heap. And if you probably look at MVP, like top vote receivers, like for top 3, I guarantee of the top 3 has always been 2 out of 3. It's always been 2. It's going to be Giannis, because last year was just 3. It was Giannis, Nikola Jokic, and Joel Embiid. That's been the trend over the last few years. So they've been doing that. But let's look at championships as well. 2 of the last 3 champions were teams that were led by international players, Giannis and Nikola Jokic. So you can already see the trend beginning to develop. And I think that is putting NBA players on their heels, where now they need to start waking up and realizing, whoa, wait a minute. If we don't start taking pride in this game, these guys could very well overtake us, because these guys are here to compete. They're not here to genuflect or watch you. They're here to compete with you. And you're seeing that every single year with the numbers that these guys are going up. And what I want to do is I want to list out some of the, because now I want to go to the top 10 players and list out how many of them are actually international players. But before we even get into that, this video is brought to you by a brand new sponsor, Factor Meals. If you're like me or anybody that works at Dreamerspro, chances are you're a very, very busy person, especially during the lunchtime when you don't have time to go to the grocery store, pick out fresh ingredients, and come back home and cook healthy, delicious meals. Sometimes we're so busy that you just end up finding yourself making a ham sandwich or something like that, which isn't really ideal. And this is the reason why we are excited to be partnering with Factor Meals. Factor Meals is America's #1 ready-to-eat meal kit. You can choose from up to 35 gourmet meals. Every meal is packed with premium ingredients, crafted by Factor Meals' team of culinary experts and designed by dietitians to ensure that every meal is packed with premium science-backed nutritional quality. Your meals are delivered directly to your door, and all you need to do is heat them up in just under 2 minutes. Then they are ready for you to eat and enjoy. So for example, this week, I think I'm gonna go with the Italian herb chicken. What I love is that under every single meal, you can see if it's a calorie conscious option. For example, this meal I just chose is the dietitian approved calorie smart meal, which is around 550 calories or less per serving, and also a protein plus meal with 30 grams of protein or more per serving. So if you want to give it a try, click the link in the description below or head over to factormeals.com/dreamers50 and use code dreamers50 to get 50% off. And remember, when you try Factor Meals by using the link in the description below, remember that you're supporting this channel. Thank you. So let's just go through some of the players right now, because this has been an argument. Of the top 10 players right now, I'm just going to go off my head. Or actually, let me just check right now, because this may be a little bit. Top 10 players, top 10 NBA players, 2023. Let's see. Let's see who has the top. Okay, let's look at CBS Sports. I think they recently just released a list that had a lot of people, crying and shaking and hollering and hooting and hollering and all of these different things. So on their list, they have Nikola Jokic as 1, Giannis at 2, Luka at 3, Jason Tatum at 4, Joel Embiid at 5, KD at 6, Stephen Curry at 7, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander at 8, Damian Lillard at 9, John Morant at 10, and it goes on, LeBron 11. Okay, so the top 10 players right now, 5 of them are international players. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is not from the US. I believe he's from Canada. Of the top 10, half of them are from another country. Of the top 5, I mean, if I'm looking at it right now, you have Giannis, you have the Joker, you have Joel Embiid. How can the MVP not be one of the top 5 players? Then now you have to choose between Luka, because they have Luka and Jason Tatum. I would take Luka over Jason Tatum. Well, they do different things. Jason Tatum he's more of a two-way player. But I would take Luka. There's an argument that could be made that of the top 5 players in the NBA, 4 of them are all international players. Of the top 5 players in the NBA playing today, 4 of them are international players. But it doesn't stop there, because something pretty big happened last night. What happened last night? Last night, Victor Wembanyama made his preseason debut. And if you saw it, you already know what's coming. If we look at the way this thing is trending as it currently sits, an argument could be made that in the next few years, international players are probably going to comprise the top 10 players in the NBA. That's where all of this is heading right now. That's where all of this is heading. But then the question has to become, why is this the case? Why is this the case? America is the country that is known for basketball. So how is it possible that these guys that come from different places are now coming into this league and taking over? Well, I think it's a few things. Number one, I think it's the way that NBA players are brought up through the AAU system, something that players like Robert Horry, Kobe Bryant, and all of these guys have bitterly criticized. They said they actually believe that it's making our players worse. I believe that this whole system of load management and all of that is also affecting them, although these international players are partaking in that as well. And I also believe that given the fact that these guys are playing in other leagues where you play a more fundamentally sound game, it's making the NBA game, to be frank with you, seem easy to them. That's what it is. When you listen to Luka Doncic on the JJ Redick podcast talk about it's much easier to play in the NBA than it is to play abroad, that's an indictment of the league. That's an indictment of the league. I also believe that these guys are playing with more fire in their bellies. I believe that these guys are here to make a statement. Something else that I think is also worth pointing out is that their disposition. Here's what's interesting. Here's what's interesting. A person, if you look at a person that grew up with nothing, that had to struggle and fight and claw for everything that they got, when that person is given an opportunity to change their lives and the lives of their families, those people with that fire in their bellies are more than likely going to outcompete even people that are probably more talented than them, because their work ethic alone would allow them to outcompete these other people. But when you have other people who grew up with a lot of the comforts that some of these people did not have, and were always told that you're great and you're going to be great, and when they get to the NBA, they start acting like as if it's their right instead of a privilege, then you get things like this. You see what you see. If players took pride in the game a little bit more, you would see a different result. You would see a different result. A lot of those other teams, those other players, when it comes time to even represent their country in international play, they're all there. The best of the best, they're all there every single time. But in the States, man, we too cool for school. Now, some people say, oh, well, they're caught up in many obligations, so those international players don't have, I would even say they have even more obligations. Because some of these guys are representing their countries. You're not going to tell me a guy representing his team in his state is going to have more obligations than a guy that represents his country. You're just not going to tell me. I'm not going for that. I'm sorry. When Nikola Jokic won that championship, it was a big damn deal in his country. A big deal. When the Nuggets won, it was a big deal for the Nuggets and some NBA fans around the plate, not for the whole United States. Let's cut it out. But it just seems like some of these American players are taking it for granted, man, and they're just too cool for school. They're just too cool for school, man. They are just too cool for school. And these guys are coming in here and taking their lunch money. And if they don't wake up soon, it's going to be a wrap. It's going to be a wrap. The NBA going to turn into the United Nations. And guess what? The league is all for competition. If you think that the NBA is sitting back and saying, oh, we just want it to be an American-dominated game, you're living in a fantasy land. The NBA is about marketing its product, growing its product, and increasing its revenue. They're not about, oh, the best player in the world needs to be from Chicago or New York. They don't give a damn about that. And y'all should have seen the writing on the wall when they started doing all of these various clinics in these different countries and taking the game to various countries around the world. You should have read the writing on the wall then. And Victor Wembanyama, if he turns out to be anything good, or like what people are expecting, it's a wrap. It's a saran wrap. It's over. There's nobody, right, young player in the NBA. Yeah, John Moran is cool. He's great. Zion, if he gets his stuff together, is great. They do not have the upside of Victor Wembanyama. Don't even trip. That dude has a totally different upside. That guy could possibly become the face of the NBA. And once these guys take over, it's over. It's over. So people need to start waking up. People were sitting up there twerking it up all over the place when LeBron and these guys said they were going to go represent the country. And I'm happy because you should go represent your country for God's sakes. But those are that's the old guard. LeBron, I think Damian Lillard, I think Draymond Green, Kevin Durant, I think Kawhi wants to go. These guys are the generation that will soon be out. The younger group are the ones that are coming in. It's going to be a very interesting next 5 to 10 years in the NBA, and I can't wait to see. These are my thoughts. So what I want to know from you guys is, do you think there will come a point when the international players are going to take over the NBA if these NBA players don't sit up, these American NBA players don't sit up and start getting serious about their league? Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section. We catch you on the next show. Peace.